I want to tell you a story today that moved me to my core. A story about courage, about faith, and about women who changed the world when the world wasn't ready for them to change. See, we all know about the great men in history. We read about them, we celebrate them. But let me tell you about some women who stood up when standing up could cost you everything. Her name was bint Khuwaylid. Now, you might not have heard that name before, but you need to know it. This sister, she was one of the very first people to accept Islam. Not the 10th, not the 100th, one of the first. And when she made that choice, she knew what was coming. She knew the price. In 7th century Arabia, if you went against the grain, if you stood up for what you believed in, they didn't just disagree with you, they came after you. And they came after Sumayya hard. They tortured her. They tried to break her. They told her, just say you don't believe. Just say the words and we'll stop. But you know what she said? She said no. This woman looked her oppressors in the eye and said, I will not deny my faith. I will not deny my God. And she became the first martyr in Islam. The first. Not a man, a woman. Now let me tell you about another phenomenal woman. Khadijah bint Khuwaylid. This woman was a CEO before we even had that term. She was a successful businesswoman. She was wealthy. She was independent. And she was respected. In a time when women were supposed to be quiet and invisible, Khadijah was out there running caravans, making deals, building an empire. And when the Prophet Muhammad received his first revelation, when he came down from that mountain shaking and afraid, wondering if he was losing his mind, who believed in him first? His wife Khadijah. She didn't hesitate. She didn't doubt. She said, you are not crazy. God would not forsake you. You are truthful. You are kind. And I believe in you. She became the first convert to Islam, the first believer. And she took everything she had built, all that wealth, all that success, and she put it behind this new faith. She supported the early Muslims when they had nothing. She was the backbone, the foundation, the rock. Think about Aisha bin Abi Bakr. This woman became one of the greatest scholars in Islamic history. After the Prophet passed away, people would come from all over to learn from her. She taught thousands of students. She narrated over 2,000 sayings of the Prophet. She was a theologian, a jurist, a teacher. Men would sit at her feet to learn. And here's what gets me. Here's what really moves me. These women did all of this in a time when women were buried alive at birth in that society, when women were considered property, when women had no rights, no voice, no value. Islam came and said, no more. It said women have souls. Women have rights. Women inherit property. Women choose who they marry. Women can own businesses. Women can seek knowledge. The Prophet Muhammad said, seeking knowledge is obligatory for every Muslim, and he meant men and women. Now, I'm not here to convert anybody. That's not my job. But I am here to tell you the truth about history, about women who stood up before the suffragettes, before the civil rights movement, before we were even talking about women's rights in most of the world. These women were revolutionaries. They were leaders. They were scholars, warriors, businesswomen, and activists. They shaped a faith that today has almost 2 billion followers. And they did it with grace, with strength, and with an unshakable belief in something greater than themselves. So when you see a Muslim woman today wearing her hijab, walking with her head held high, remember she's walking in the footsteps of giants. She's carrying on a tradition of powerful women who refused to be silent, refused to be oppressed, and refused to let anyone tell them they were less than. That's the story they don't always tell you. That's the history that gets overlooked. But it's real, it's documented, and it's powerful. Because at the end of the day, strength isn't just about physical power. It's about standing for what you believe in when the whole world is against you. It's about having faith when faith is all you've got. And it's about paving the way for generations to come. Sumayya, Khadijah, Aisha, and so many more. These women didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for the world to be ready. They stepped up, they spoke out, and they changed everything. And that, my friends, is what real courage looks like. That's what faith in action looks like. That's what happens when women refuse to be invisible. Remember their names, honor their legacy, and recognize that strong women have been changing the world since the beginning of time. We just need to tell their stories.